Hey everyone, and welcome to another Yogi Misfit session. My name's Danny Pumploon, and I'm your host. On today's show, I've got Jessica Sears on the show. Jessica is a San Francisco local. She is a coach herself, and she also has not one, not two, but 3 life coaches. Yeah. She talks a lot about this episode on why coaches are important, how she finds them useful, and also how we can also use them useful as well. So I hope you guys enjoy the show. And if you love the show, please make sure to leave a review on iTunes as it helps. Until then, enjoy the show. Jessica, what is going on?
Hey Danny, how are you? Happy Monday.
Same, except for San Francisco's on fire.
I know. I smelt fire this morning actually outside my house.
So last night I was going to bed and I had my window open or whatever, and I was like, "What is that smell?" And I thought, "Oh, someone's having like a." It's kind of silly. I was like,
The bonfire.
"No, someone's." I was like, "Someone's like have their fireplace going," and then I'm like, "Wait a minute, there are no fireplaces in San Francisco.
What?
No
Yeah.
active." Yeah, and then
So
a f-
it's it. No, no, no. It's sorry to interrupt you. It's so strange because I had the same like thought go through my head. I get up really early. I got up at 4 this morning and I was doing all my priming stuff and I went outside and I smelled fire and I was like, huh, that's so weird. Somebody must be like burning brush or something next door. Like I was just kind of like looking around,
yeah.
but it's still dark out, so I didn't really fully
Yeah, I
understand
guess
what was happening.
there's a bunch of there's a bunch of fires out in like Napa or whatever. But where San Francisco's not on fire, there's just ash everywhere.
Just ash, yeah. Yeah. Are you in the city?
I am. I'm right on 18th and Valencia.
Oh, I actually used to be your neighbor.
Oh,
I,
hey, old neighbor.
hey, old neighbor. I'm not your neighbor anymore, but I used to be your neighbor.
Nice. So let's dive in, Jess. I want to talk. I want to talk to you about a few different things, but one, like, let's chat about you. What are you doing these days? What's happening? What's going on in the world of you?
Oh my gosh. So, big question. Thank you for asking and thank you for having me on.
Yeah, for
Super
sure.
grateful. So a lot's been going on in my life the past year and a half. So I just launched my own company. So that's been really like the heart of my focus and it's all around holistic wellness, life coaching, leading retreats, and just kind of being an overall badass. Hopefully, I can say that on here.
I was dropping all the f bombs the other day, so it's
Okay,
totally
perfect.
fine. Yeah,
Yes, I have a problem with that. So yes,
you
it's
can say
awesome.
fuck, shit, and anything else you want.
Thank you. Now I feel more comfortable. I can breathe now. Yeah, so it's just been all about launching my business, and the why for me is really just unleashing inspiration and originality in others along their journey into becoming, the best version of themselves, and not meaning the best version of, the approval of others or what society deems to be successful, but really the deep version of success and what that looks like for them, which could be different for everyone. And I think
Sure.
people need to, not need to, but they have this deep desire to step out of that societal like crunch box and really find their purpose. So for me, it's all about helping people not only find the purpose in their lives through wellness and life coaching and yoga and lots of other things, but really find fulfillment because I think that that's something that we're desperately missing.
So what were you doing beforehand? Before, like, I guess, what were you, blah 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 words? What were you doing? It is Monday morning. What were you doing beforehand that made you want to take this jump, or like, what was it that you decided? Holy shit, I have to do this other thing. Like, this is what I have to do.
Yeah. So I actually have been working in an IT technical services um, firm for quite some time, over 6.5 years. So I it really was one of those jobs that was super stressful. Working at a desk 70 hours a week. I moved 4 times for the company in the past 5 years.
Wow.
Managed an office of individuals. I was stressed. And I actually, Danny, I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but I wasn't doing yoga or anything having to do with yoga. My diet was horrible about 2 years ago, I would say. I was, a yoga hater, not for me. I'm too tough for that. I don't need it. A lot of people, would try to introduce me to that, that lifestyle. And I was like, no, no, thanks. Like, I'm good. And flash forward to now, I'm teaching and like leading retreats and doing TED Talks on wellness and holistic ways to help your body. So it's literally like 180 flip.
Wow, that's huge, man.
Yeah, yeah. So it's been a huge journey. And I say toughness because I've been doing martial arts my entire life since I was in second grade.
Hmm.
And I always,
What type of martial arts?
I'm sorry.
What type of martial arts?
So I've multiple types, but the what I practiced when I was younger was Tang Sudo, which is a Korean form of martial arts,
Okay.
similar to Taekwondo, but there are some differences there. And when I got into college, I they didn't have Tang Sudo. It's not as popular as Taekwondo, so I joined the Taekwondo team at North Carolina State University, and that was a club team that I was on there, and as well as cheerleading D1. So my life was super crazy.
Hey, yo,
Uh,
I was a cheerleader.
Yay! Oh my God, we're gonna have a separate cheer
And I was
conversation.
gonna say, and the topic is now changed to cheerleading.
The topic is now, when can we do acro cheer yoga?
All the time.
You and Dolores. Yeah. So I mean, that was part of like my toughness, like from a mental standpoint. But really, when I got into yoga, I realized all of these similarities with breathing and just movement and in general, like how to like really work with your body and your mind. And
Hmm.
there's so many similarities there. And I felt like I was really pushing away yoga as like the hoity-toity, like get well type of a thing. And I was a martial artist. That's what I identified with. And I really started marrying those two lifestyles together and molding that practice because it can be really fierce, but it can also be super vulnerable. And, that's the one piece that I felt like I was missing that I've now kind of married into my practice.
What? Okay, so where would you say that the major shift happened, though, where you were like, now I need to go help other people go through this as well? Like, what, or was there anything actually, is a better question. Was there anything that you were like, one day you just sat there and it like hit you upside the head and you were like, I need to spread this to other people?
There were so many like aha, like breakthrough moments for me. I actually have three different life coaches that I pay to coach me. And,
Whoa, wait, three?
I have three different life coaches. Yeah, a lot of people are like, "What?" Because I am a life coach. So sometimes people are like, "Well, wait, why do you have so many coaches?" Well, I have coaches because like I need coaches, and I think everyone needs coaching. And I'm investing in myself with coaches, and really a lot of them have challenged me to push it to the next level.
Sure, sure.
I don't really feel like you can hold anyone accountable, but they've been more like inspirational. You kind of have to hold yourself accountable essentially. But there was one moment I actually went to a Tony Robbins seminar, Unleash the Power Within, in San Jose, 2016, and he peeled back some layers of the onion for me that needed to be stripped away from me. And that's when I was like, you know what, I I'm growing to give, and I need to contribute back to other people who are feeling this way, who are either stressed in a computer pose job. Computer pose is like the worst, right?
Yeah.
For everything, and like there's no amount of standing desk or like like treadmill desk that can help you in a computer job. But
Does treadmill desk actually exist?
it does exist. I've seen them, and it's actually hilarious. But
Okay, well, next podcast will be on.
exactly. Yeah, but I mean, I just don't feel like there's any amount of sitting there and just like talking at somebody that you can do. Somebody has to want to grow, and I think that that's the biggest thing. And I've hopefully been able to provide a business that helps people along their journey to becoming that best version of themselves, and help them
Right.
find their purpose and their fulfillment, and really like self love and self acceptance, because you can't give away what you don't have. And I feel like there's a lot of people that try to give and give and give, but they don't really have their own self love. So my journey to finding that in myself, I feel like there's no other purpose than for me to give that back to others.
When you started this, or rather, well, one, so I have all the questions for you right now. One, when you started this thing, you knew you wanted to do coaching, like for sure, but you also wanted to, did you know like the vision of it was going to be like coaching and wellness and yoga and kind of a little bit of everything?
I started off like wanting to do a little bit more career coaching just from the industry that I was in, and being in IT, and the nerd side of the house. I think that a lot of people in IT have computer jobs, right? And I think that the biggest thing for me was career development, growing people into leaders, things like that. But then it just evolved from there. And I think the biggest thing for me was not only to take a little bit more of a risk, but to become a little bit more original and to try something new. And so I did measure some of the risks that I was taking, but I think that the biggest thing is for me was to be a little bit more original than some other companies out there. And I know that there's life coaching. People throw that word around a lot, or peak performance coaching, or whatever you want to call it. But I really think the biggest thing that stuck for me was making sure it was an authentic practice, making sure it was filled with integrity and vulnerability and transparency. And I think that in order to create a business, it's not just about the coaching or what type of coaching you do, whether that be career or wellness or yoga or nutrition or diet or fitness. It's about who you are and what you can give back to others. So, for me, it was all about being a little bit more original and having something else to give, by rather than just hey, here's my email every 2 months that I'm going to clog your Gmail inbox with, that talks to you about how you can lose 50 pounds. Like, just being a little bit more personalized, I guess, in that manner. So it started out as career coaching, long winded answering your question, but it became much more than that. And, it's been now overall life coaching. So anything from transforming your nutrition to fitness to yoga to anything in your life.
When people come up and say, okay, what exactly is a life coach and what do you do and what are they going to accomplish, or like what are you going to accomplish? How's like what's your answer like?
Yeah, so I think it's all about what what that person is looking for in their life. I'm not gonna, spit out something at them and say you can change your career and your blah, and your life and your nutrition, everything. It's really what they're looking for in their lives and what they want to grow. Because again, you can't motivate anyone, you can't hold anyone accountable. They have to be inspired by a greater purpose and a greater sense of self. So I think that I'm going to provide them with whatever ultimate like service and experience that they're looking for, but it's really a personalized relationship that I'm going to have per client. And
Hmm.
again, if we're willing to be vulnerable with each other and authentic, and I think that you can really create some sort of a vision
Hmm.
to help them live whatever their best life is. So I always start when people come to me and they're like, "Well, I don't know. I have no idea." I break it down into, okay, well, what are your life pillars? What do you want to like? What makes up your life? And that could be something different for every single person, but maybe it's their health or their fitness or their friends or their career, or whatever their life pillars are. And then we can kind of go through those and say, okay, well, what's a little bit like down for you right now, and what do you feel like needs the most work? And then we can start there, because I feel like people sometimes don't know where to start, and it's really overwhelming to just look at your life and say my life sucks and I don't know what to do right now. So I think my expertise comes into really digging into what we can tackle. And it's all about the little things too. I mean, some people are like, "Oh my gosh, like I need to lose 50 pounds tomorrow." That's not going to happen, right? So I think it's more about the little things, the habits, growing into, and I mentioned earlier, priming. I'm huge on priming, and I think that that can change your entire life, just shifting that one thing that you do in the morning. So I think it's different for everyone, to answer your question.
And how do you marry the yoga into all this?
It's really, you can't make somebody do yoga. Like
Sure.
I said before, I used to be like that tough guy that was like, I'm not doing yoga. Yoga's
Yeah.
stupid, right? And now it's changed my life. I think, again, the biggest thing is, it's an inspiration. It's slowly introducing people into what deep meditation can do for you, what breathing can do for you. And that doesn't have to be in a yoga studio
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
in a yoga class. And if people don't want to do yoga, that's completely fine. But you can show people how it's changed your life, and I think that says something in itself. But the way that I marry yoga into it is, when I'm leading retreats or doing workshops, I will always have a yoga class involved in it. Um, for either twice a day or once a day if it's a retreat, um, focusing on priming, getting yoga in the morning, getting really that deep meditation. And I think that that's, something that sometimes our yoga classes, people run in and out, right? I mean, you have your studio that you're running. So I mean, people run in and out of yoga, and some people like leave early. They need to go to work. They need to get the hell out of there. They skip shavasana, like they're not stretching. And I think, in our world, you have to learn to slow down. So I'm hoping that,
Yeah.
in the retreats and the workshops, you could slow it down a little bit.
I love it. I think, I guess I kind of sort of have a coach, but it's not like a life coach. Well, it's a little bit of both. Like we work on like business stuff and we work on like, it's all hand in hand, right? If I'm not happy in
Yeah,
my life, my business won't grow. But it's
absolutely.
important to have someone to bounce, one, to have a sounding board, but two, also to have someone to inspire you.
Absolutely.
And I feel
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I mean, and people can have any form of coach. I mean, a mentor, I mean, anything, but, I think my biggest thing is, in terms of coaching, like even with like a yoga instructor, don't choose your friend, right? Because they're not going to tell you the brutal, honest truth. Choose somebody who you admire, maybe model the masters. Choose somebody who's a master in something that you want to master yourself, and make sure it's somebody that's going to tell you the brutal truth, like you suck at that, like let's fix it, where it's, I guess choosing your mentors very carefully, because people can be honest with you, or they can, blow smoke.
right, right, totally. I love it. So one last and final question for the
Yeah.
people that are on the fence about maybe thinking about getting a coach. What do you say?
Ooh, that's a really great question. Well, again, I have three coaches, and they've completely changed my life. And when you look at people that are the best in something, like taking like the extreme, like the Olympics,
Hmm.
um, they have a coach. Um, all the best sports teams, they have a coach. Anyone who's ever been successful in business, including people like Steve Jobs and, I mean, the big wigs of Silicon Valley, they've had coaches in their lives. And
Right.
you know again, you can think that you can do it all alone, but everyone's our teacher. Even people that aren't my coaches, I'm letting them teach me every single day. And I think that the biggest thing is, again, you're not going to get to the next level unless you want to invest in yourself and choose to invest in yourself. And that can go for life coaching, or it can even go for yoga. If you're not going to invest in yourself with your yoga practice, then you're not going to get better, right? So I think
100%.
it
Yeah.
goes with everything. Yep.
I love it. I love it. Jess, thank you so much. That's like,
Yeah,
I
thank
mean,
you.
I learned a lot in this. I feel like I
Thanks.
need, I feel like I need three coaches.
Yeah.